Hello everyone, and welcome to my summer presentation on sustainable farming techniques used on Wakelyns farm in Suffolk. During the summer holidays, I stayed on Wakelyns farm for a few days, and between driving about on a rideable lawnmower and chopping logs for firewood, I was asking questions about what techniques were used on this farm and for what reason. I learned that Wakelyns was an agroforestry farming hub that was leading the way for sustainable farming techniques in the UK by using genetic diversity and agroforestry of crops to produce healthier and more environmentally friendly produce. In the following presentation, I'm going to share what I saw in actions around Wakelyns farm with respect to sustainable agriculture and show what I have found after going away and researching about agroforestry and sustainability, while drawing on my experience over the summer as evidence. So, what is agroforestry? The formal definition of it is agriculture incorporating the cultivation of trees, which is effectively growing trees and crops on the same land, and the crops then benefit from the symbiotic relationship they form with the trees. On Wakelyns farm, a large variety of hardwood and fruit trees were planted in long rows between alleys for planting crops such as squash. You can see this in the photo, which shows a little green island, Wakelyns farm, surrounded by other monocultural farmland that is not using agroforestry techniques. The obvious environmental sustainability advantage of planting trees is that they remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and this helps to mitigate climate change. This could help to reduce our carbon emissions greatly, as 25% of the total land in England is used for growing crops, and therefore could be converted to an agroforestry system used to grow trees. These tree rows also provide more habitats, meaning there will be a diverse range of organisms living in the trees. On Wakelyns, the trees were home to the endangered turtle dove that has seen its population decline by 96% since the 1960s. While I was staying on the farm, the RSPB visited to observe and record this rare species, as they were astonished by the fact this precious animal was inhabiting a farm, and wanted to see what had been done so well on Wakelyns so that it could be replicated elsewhere. The visitor then stayed for even longer to look at the amazing dragonflies and butterflies that floated about. This sort of biodiversity is simply not achievable on farms that do not have an agroforestry system, as it is common practice to destroy long hedgerows thriving with life in order to maximize space for crop growth, and this is at the detriment of any wildlife associated with the bush. This is shown by the fact that all 84 species connected with hedgerows in the UK are now considered a conservation concern. Incorporating the trees does not only have effects on the sustainability of a farm, they can also increase produce. They can provide their own fruit, such as the apples, pears, quinces, cherries, plums, apricots, peaches, and figs on Wakelyns, but can also benefit the surrounding crops by preventing soil erosion and sheltering them from weather and disease spores. Also, their extensive root system can draw up nutrients deep in the soil, and these are then later returned to the soil so that the crops can use them. However, not only the tree rows are sustainable on Wakelyns farm. In between the tree rows, there are alleys which contain crops such as wheat. These are genetically diverse and have a large gene pool, as a variety of different crop mixtures were planted. On industrial farms, the crops grown have been carefully bred to increase yield and resistance to certain chemical substances, such as pesticides. This breeding means that all the crops in the field are genetically identical. They have a very small gene pool. However, the crops on Wakelyns are not genetically identical, and they have many different versions of genes, called alleles, present in the population. This means that the crops can undergo natural selection and specialize to the area they are growing, providing a large yield, disease resistant, and better taste, all without the use of any harmful chemicals. This is not possible in genetically identical crops, as they require inorganic substances to prevent disease and deter pests, as they are not able to adapt to changes in their surrounding environment, and these substances can be very harmful to our health. For many years, farming in the UK has been harmful to our wildlife, environment, and health. Wakelyns, however, is an example of how farming can be done in a way that is beneficial to ourselves and our environment, while not detracting from the produce made. We are currently facing a global climate crisis, and 165 species are currently critically endangered in the UK. While sustainable farming is not the absolute answer to these problems, it is part of many steps we should be taking to save the world around us. I've only been able to cover a few of the methods deployed at Wakelyns Farm, so if you would like to read more about it, visit their website at wakelyns.co.uk and feel free to buy some of their produce to support their push towards a more sustainable future.